welcome back to every Earthbound boss Overexplained, where I analyze each and every boss from Earthbound in chronological order, so from Starman Junior to Giygas. Now you may notice an improvement over the previous video. This time I have the boss's music in the background. Just probably will feel better. It feels more thematic. Anyway, this episode I will talk about the bosses Frank and Frankystein Mark II, aka the second and third bosses in the game respectively. So first, let's talk about Frank. So, first of all, the game never says that his last name is Fly. I'm pretty sure that was just in the huge player manual that kind of ruined the game's reputation in America. But anyway, Frank. Not much to say about his name, unlike the previous video, but there is a lot to say about his design. First, look at those teeth. That is some goofy teeth. Yeah, and his hair. That's 90s for ya. It looks different from his clay model, I don't know why. But anyway, he's got a gangsta-like look, it seems. And he's dual-wielding daggers like the cool dude he is. So, his presence in the story of the game is that he is the leader of the Shark Gang. So yeah, he is a gangster by technicality. So he and his gang members took over the One-Net arcade just for fun, and are beating up people who come close. He also managed to bribe the police, I think, or intimidate them. So yeah, that shows the police's incompetence in One-Net because they can't deal with a gang of kids. Which Frank is a kid. He mentions that. He mentions that he's underage. So yeah, he has a fancy suit. Normally you wouldn't see a kid who is a leader of a gang wearing that fancy of a suit. Anyway, the reason Ness is motivated to fight him is that he has information about Giant Step because he trashed the touring entertainer's shack that blocks the way to Giant Step, and it's locked. So you have no choice but to try to talk to him. But you have to get through the arcade first, which is full of his gang members. Once you get to Frank, you notice him in the back of the arcade, more like the backyard. And he even has a robot he made himself, which I'll get to later. But anyway, he asks what your name is. But of course, since Ness is a silent protagonist, he can't say it, so that immediately engages a fight with Ness wielding the bat, and Frank is dual-wielding daggers. That seems like an unfair fight, but let's see his attacks here. So yeah. Let's go from weakest to strongest. You can say something nasty, which lowers your guts. you deal smash attacks and can actually save you from dying, but leaves you at 1 health. So that's his weakest move, since it doesn't actually deal damage. He can come out swinging, so he like swings the knife at you. It's gotta hurt. Out of his 2 attacks, it deals the lower of damage. I've noticed it deals about, I think, it was in the 10s, I don't remember. And his second attack, his strongest one, is brandishing a knife. Yeah. He stabs Ness. This guy, he stabs Ness. But yeah, it deals a lot of damage for his level. I think it deals like 30 something at the appropriate level. But yeah, let's take a look at his stats now. He has 63 HP. That's actually lower than the Starman Junior, but in that case you had Buzz. His PP is 0. His offense is 12. So that's appropriate for the level. Defense is 17. Speed is 7. Guts is 5. And he has no drops. So, the question is, how do you overcome Frank? Well, it's simple, really. Just attack and heal and hope for good RNG, like him lowering your guts. People say this is probably one of the hardest battles in the game, since you don't have any broken items yet. Those come with the partner Jeff later in the game. But yeah, just heal when necessary and hit him with your bat. Just make sure you have the T-ball bat, because the other weapons are garbage. And you also get hypnosis around the time you fight him. I haven't really used hypnosis too much, I just prefer saving my PP for healing. Also, use healing items. Bring those. Bring hamburgers. And okay, one last thing about Frank. Before I get to the other boss. So his battle theme, and I'm not really gonna mention battle themes too much in this series, but his battle theme is called Franky, which is based on the hippie battle theme from Earthbound Beginnings, which is, of course, based on the hit song Johnny Be Good. But there's a parallel between Frank and Franky, the song that's used, and, what was it again? Oh yeah, Hippie Battle. They're actually both used on gangster bosses. Of course, Frank is a gangster, literally, and also BB's boss, or Teddy, from Earthbound Beginnings, so Frank is kind of based off of that. In that case. So anyway, after you beat Frank, he then says, fail-proof Frank cannot be bitten, puff puff. Now here's Frankystein Mark II. So yeah, that's Frankystein Mark II. He appears to be made out of wood, and he has 2 fists, one that he pumps, another that is just straight, says shark on it, and it looks like a tank, has a flag. That's a pretty extravagant looking robot, even has a nose and a mouth. Frank should be using his skills elsewhere. But anyway, of course his name is based on Frank, but also Frankystein, which is a created creature, and this is a man-made robot. So the Mark II indicates that this is not his first attempt to make a Frankystein robot. It makes me wonder what the previous Frankystein was like. But by the end of the game, I think there's a Mark III, but I don't know for sure. Anyway, so right after you fight Frank, you fight Frankystein Mark II. And let's look at his attacks. So when you first encounter him, his first move is generating a burst of steam, which does nothing. Then he will do one of two attacks, throwing a punch. I mean, look at his hands. Of course he's gonna punch. And tearing into you, which I guess means doing some heavier punches in rapid fire. That's what I'm guessing. I don't know for sure. But it does higher damage, so watch out for that. And looking at his stats here, he has 91 hit points, no psychic points, 15 offense, which is, yeah, it's more than Frank. So his robot is stronger than himself. Defense 18, which is close to Frank's. Speed is 4, so you'll likely go first. Guts is 0. That's a nerf from Frank. And he has no drops. So how do you overcome him? Well, in between each of his attacks, he generates a burst of steam. So he only attacks every other turn. So you can heal in between attacks, and you can beat the crap out of him with your baseball bat. And another thing that makes this battle even easier is if you die to him, then you don't have to fight Frank again. You could just go right back into fighting Frankystein Mark II. So that's pretty sweet of Frank. I guess he's too intimidated by Ness to face him like a man. But yeah, after you defeat Frankystein Mark II, fail-proof Frank here says he's beaten and now he should change his name to Failure Frank because he lost to Ness. And he tells Ness about this spot, the giant step, and how Mayor Purple has the key to the entertainer's shack that he trashed, and that he should go to him because he's now the town hero for stopping the sharks. And of course he ends the sharks for good. And then we never see him again. Well, actually you can go back and heal for free with him. But after that, you don't see him until the Giygas fight where Paula's praying. I think Frank is one of the last ones she reaches out to. So yeah, he's actually important later on. He's a good guy after Ness beats him up. Frankystein Mark II. Hope you're having a good day, good